Hello, welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Ryan and I'm here with David. Yeah, it looks a bit different to normal. I look like I'm in a care home. I'm not in a care home. I'm in David's house. But because we can't be next to each other on the camera, he's upstairs in his little studio and I'm in the living room, which, yeah, it is a bit like a care home. But we're going to have to get cracking and get over the fact it's not the usual setup, but I hope I'm clear enough. And I'm sure it's still going to be a great video. David, how are you?
Fine.
2 minutes to go upstairs, so I'm sure you're just as good as you were. Let's crack on. Sheffield United have already been relegated. Do you think they're going to have a point to prove here today that they aren't as bad as they've been made out, or do you think this is going to be a walk in the park for Everton?
I hope not. I hope that they come and they have nothing to play for. I mean, looking at their recent results, it looks like they have kind of switched off recently. They've lost the last couple of games. They did win away at home.
No change then. They've lost pretty much every game.
They lose most of their games, don't they? I mean, away from home, they're abysmal. Their record is abysmal.
I think so. What we're expecting Jagielka to start and to score.
They might have won one game away and drawn one game away, just off memory, and the rest they've lost. So really, even with our dismal home form, just nothing but a win is good enough here.
So Sheffield United, obviously the relegated team, they're going to want to restore some pride, a little bit of dignity, and it is a game. These are all televised matches. There's no getting away from that. They don't have anything as per se to play for, but with Everton, their home form this season I think it's 5 wins, something like that, all season. It's not good enough. It's more of a point to prove for Everton than for Sheffield United, you'd say.
Definitely. I mean, we've got to put. It's almost like I'm thinking we need to put a statement down, because I don't know if Europe's over really now. I mean, it's still mathematically possible, but you look at what's around us and the goal difference and the fixtures, and it doesn't really look possible that we can get 6th. We might get into 7th, but even then, it's conference. So I don't know. I mean, my team lineup kind of reflects the idea that I want a bit more of a performance rather than just a win. Because I'm sick of watching the boring football as well.
Let's see. Talk us through the team.
The team is, if it works, is basically back to the first 4 games of the season, apart from Mina. It's got the 4-3-3. Got Davies in there now as the sitting. Let Alan go and do the chasing. Let Decore cover the right-hand side, which we know has been a problem, but we'll just have a go at it. Let's see if it works again. Because when we played it the first 7 games, it worked really well. We were good in passing. Our build-up play was really good, and we scored lots of goals. So, look, James is going to be crucial for this game, because to break down the Sheffield United defence.
And I'd say, obviously, I don't want to keep this on the screen too long, just because I know that it's hard to view on the phones and stuff. But yeah, I've gone for very similar, believe it or not. And the only change there, Decore. But on second thoughts, David, when you're talking about fitness potentially being an issue, perhaps Coleman won't play another game and Decore may not play again so soon. It might be better to keep Decore fit for Wolves. So you could maybe argue that you could have Sigurdsson in Decore's position, or Tom Davis, or even, I think, what might be more likely, Fabian Delph on the left, Gomez on the right, and Alan holding. It might be that we actually need to use the full squad here and give Delph a start, give a couple of others a start. But at the same time, this is a must-win. We can't mess around. We have to go with our best front 3. We have to go with our best defence. We have to play the strongest team, because we don't want to be going into that Wolves game dead and buried because we've drawn or lost to Sheffield United. So I'd like to see us go as close to full strength as possible, understanding that we may need to bring in a couple of players like Delph, just, because of fitness and issues, potentially with having played not long ago. So in terms of that, it's only Mina who's absent. Do you think James is going to be fit to start? They're saying he's trained Thursday and Friday. So you throw him straight in?
I think he'll play if he's actually trained both days and he feels comfortable. But you know what it's like. You just can't expect it. You just always have that thing in your head that you've got to expect him to drop out, possibly.
I wouldn't mind, but he doesn't run anyway, so I don't see how he gets...
Well, that's why I've put the legs around him with Davies, Allen, and Decore. But as you say, we have played a few fixtures in short succession, and mentally and physically we might need to exchange some players. And let's see if Carlo does do that, which is probably quite likely that he'll make 3 or 4 changes. Let's see the ability of these squad players. Let's give them one final opportunity to prove us that they're rubbish and that we want to get rid of them. So
confirm what we already know. I mean, obviously, apologies, my hair not being styled properly coming out of the shower. I think we know what we're getting with this Everton team. I think it's a very defensive Everton team, better defending than attacking. We've got 2 traditional number 9s there that we could be using. I saw on Twitter actually the other day someone said De La Feu in this team, would be magic really, because you're talking about someone who can throw the ball in the 6-yard box on Calvert-Lewin's head time and time again. It's exactly what we need. And unfortunately, we don't have any wide options. So whilst we do have a good solid defence and 2 good strikers, and we probably have got a decent midfield when everyone's fit, we're lacking the 2 wide players that I think make that system work. So this is why I'm switching it back to the 4-3-3. I'm just putting Richarlison on the left and James on the right, and just going back closest to what Carlo. I think that's his strongest team, and I think he thinks that's his strongest team. So I'm going as close to that as possible, and hoping that they'll have enough, which they should have enough to beat Sheffield United comfortably, 2-4-0.
If you're looking at the players on those lineups, maybe the one you take out is actually Allen. I think Decore is so fit that he'll be able to play the 3 or 4 matches. He said it himself. He had energy still at the end of that last game, and he hadn't played for 2 months. So I'm sure, I think the manager knows his players, and he knows Decore will be able to play this game. But Allen, he wasn't as good the other night. Maybe he'll get a break. Davies might come in. You might have Delph on the left, as you say, or Gomez might get a start just to freshen it up.
I mean, the Allen one's an interesting one because I've seen a lot of people say he was bypassed like a child, in midfield chasing shadows and getting played through. But I didn't see that. I thought he played quite well. I thought he's the only one in that midfield who got a grip of things and can go past the player maybe and pick a pass.
Yeah, it's been mixed, hasn't it? I've read mixed things about him the other day.
I don't think he will have issues with fitness. He's one of those players that plays pretty much every game when he's fit. It might be time to freshen things up, but I look at the bench and don't see a great deal of quality options. Bernard maybe coming in on the left could offer some link up. I think that we've been missing 0 link up down the flanks. Maybe Bernard left mid and stick with the 4-4-2. And then keep James on the right, but I'm not quite sure he suits playing on the right in a conventional 4-4-2.
Yeah, in a 4-4-2, it would have to be Richarlison out on the right and James pretty much up front.
In terms of Sheffield United, they obviously have the overlapping centre backs. They're quite ordinary, Sheffield, and I think it says a lot that they're relegated, so soon, and they've been one of the worst teams we've seen in the Premier League in a long time. Do you see them causing us too much threat? I mean, and if so, where would you identify they're going to be? I mean, they are kind of like lumps of, you're kind of like your old-fashioned strikers. They haven't really got anyone with flair or technical quality.
Yeah, they've had a very different season to last year, where they were challenging for Europe towards, till nearly the end of it, and they've just fallen off completely this year.
What do you put that down to?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Sheffield United support that. It's been really strange watching it from an outsider. But they just don't score enough goals. I mean, they lose a lot of games 1-0, 2-1.
They bought badly though, didn't they? They signed that Liverpool striker. I remember a friend of mine, Ollie, if you're watching, hiya. He said that he's a fantastic. I can't even remember his name.
Brewster. There's a lot of money.
Yeah, I think he played for Derby. He played for someone in the Championship last season and he did well. I remember my friend who's a Liverpool fan was showing me this video of this guy going, he's going to be a hot shot, and all the goals were like goalkeeping errors or mistakes and tap-ins and like the sort of thing you just don't see it at Premier League level. And I said, yeah, he's not good. I mean, maybe looking with my blue tinted glasses a little bit, but I didn't think he was going to cut it. And he's come in to Sheffield. They paid massive money for him, and he's turned out to be, a poor signing really on the. They don't have much flair or quality, and they've got Lundstram Field, who's a decent player, but I think he's leaving on a free at the end of the season. So there's a bit of a rebuild for them, maybe.
They've got a few decent players, and but mostly it's just ordinary, isn't it? I mean, they can hurt us. They've got, I think, McBurney's got a lot of pace to stretch. If we play Keane and we've got Godfrey there, so we should be able to cover it. But they have got a bit of pace there, so it's difficult to see them scoring because they've had like one shot on target against Spurs and a 0 shots on target against Crystal Palace, and you just don't see where they're going to create. I mean, they might have a game like they did at Brighton where they had 4 shots on target and they create and they're a bit more attacking and they're actually desired. But now they've been relegated. You just look at it and you think, well, let's see which Sheffield United turns up. But it's more likely we'll get a bad Sheffield United, I would have thought. And look, is this a benchmark for us? Tottenham 4, Sheffield United 0 on the 2nd of May. That's a home game for Spurs that they won 4-0 against them. And they're level on points with us now. If we can't beat Sheffield United by more than 1 goal, we are absolutely rubbish.
I'll take any win, really, if I'm honest with you. But I think we should be putting them to the sword, building a bit of confidence and trying to, restore some pride in our home performances. Home results.
Who have been off the boil as well and look like they're on the beach and after players are out of contract. They won 2-0 at Sheffield United last week. I mean, we struggled to beat them when we played them. We barely got a goal at the end, didn't we?
Yeah, we nicked the goal, but we were poor. And I think we just got to find that balance between having enough defenders and enough attackers. Predictions. I'm going to go 1-0 then to us. What? It's like you think we're going to win, but you've got little confidence because of the football you've seen.
I just think we're really lacking ability on the ball. We've got no pace in the side, and I think we'll just struggle to get there, but I think we might get the goal, and we're quite solid defensively. But it could be
back to that 4-3-3 then, and have Dean and Coleman push right up the pitch, have the midfield 3 base, one of them sits, 2 of them play in there for second balls and try and do what we were doing across the ball into them and make the most of the strikers. But you are probably right, David, if I'm honest with you.
You'd like to think we would sort of roll them over 3-0, but those days seem to have gone where we used to do that at home when we had the fans in. And
we don't have numbers forward to do that anymore. We don't get enough players forward. Someone showed me a clip of a David Moyes team. I think it was his last game where we played against West Ham at home. And I think we won 2-0. Morales scored twice. And we just had loads of players forward. 6 or 7 players beyond the ball. When we were in a crossing position, I just think we need to be a bit more braver. We've got nothing to lose now, I suppose. Go and have a real go and win convincingly. So that we can go at least into the Wolves game, with still some hope of doing something rather than having it petered away. But unfortunately, I think realistically, West Ham are not going to, I think they'll get more. They're 2 points ahead with 3 games left. They've got 3 fixtures we'd prefer, I think. So I don't think they're going to drop. I think they'll win 2 of the games, so, to be honest. So I don't think we're getting West Ham. And then the Red Shite, obviously, Man United made it easy for them, but I think they unfortunately have just creeped ahead of us. And Spurs, 7, don't really want Conference League, to be honest. So it is a bit of a disappointing end, and I think I put that down to the Spurs at home game and the Palace at home game where we were winning and we threw them away through just complete mismanagement. And I think we have to learn from that. I think next season, if we keep the core of this team, maybe bring in a wide player with some, a dynamic wide player who makes good decisions on the counter-attack and in transition, I think immediately you're looking at a much better team, more effective team. Now we have to just try. And
I don't know if we realistically believe we're going to even qualify for Europe. I mean, they keep saying they do. They keep saying they have the attitude. But I think they know deep down that even if they get to the end of the season, with it still a possibility of Spurs drop some points, we're away at Manchester City. I don't think they've quite grasped what that means. And Ancelotti keeps saying it's going to go down to that last game, but he must know deep down we're not going to get anything from that game.
Right, a stinker. I think we can beat Man City. I think their eyes will be on the Champions League final.
I think we'll really struggle because you look at Leeds, who were the last team to go there, and I watched that game and they were superb. But what they had was energy. They covered the pitch really well, and on the counter attack, they're quick. We don't have these abilities to work that hard.
God, my hair's awful.
So
on that bombshell, I'm going to call it a day. But you do make a good point. And I think if we're fully fit and we can keep everyone fit for that Man City game, we do have the players who can cover the ground, your Decore's and your Allans. I just think maybe, you know...
We're just waiting for the end of the season, aren't we?
All right. Guys, listen, thanks for watching. We've not done too long today. Someone's just said they love the video. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate that. And we will see you soon for the reaction. And I promise I will sort this terrible hairstyle out in time for that video. But unfortunately, for the next couple of weeks, the videos are going to be with this setup whilst I'm here staying with my brother and my family. So once I'm back home, I'll have my green screen and a stable setup. But stick with us and like the video. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so. Thank you very much.